could you please give me your pen? So, could you please give, we use give, not giving, not given, not gave, nothing, very easy. Could you please give me your pen? Or could I ask you a question? Very simple. Could I ask you a question? Ask is the verb. Ask is the verb that denotes action. What you want to do? Asking. What you want to do? Using pen. What you want to do? Borrow phone. What you want to do? Gift something or take something or buy something, whatever. So, action is important. That word is important. Could I borrow your phone? Borrow, that is the verb. So, you say could I remain the same, then the verb changes according to your need. Could I borrow your phone? As I told you, I repeat it again. Please repeat these sentences time and again. That would help you to learn English in a better way. You would have that confidence, because what happens is, it's not that we don't know language. The problem is that we don't have the confidence to speak. So, I suggest that you repeat it as many times as you can whenever you are free. Can I borrow your phone? Can I borrow your book? Can I borrow your bicycle? Can I borrow your car? Like that. Can I borrow your computer? Can I borrow your laptop? You go on changing the words. That's the last word of the sentence. Laptop, book, phone, pen, pencil, eraser. You go on putting verbs, go on putting words that you know, and you will have so many sentences to your disposal. And once you are thoroughly familiar with this expression, with this structure, then it will get internalized and you would be able to use it without any hesitation. So, that should be kept in mind. Similarly, would also is a modal auxiliary. Modal auxiliaries take infinitive form of the verb, bare infinitive. So, we say would is used to show volition. For instance, in statements we use would to show volition. For instance, we say I would go to Ahmedabad today. So, what I am saying is I am willing to go to Ahmedabad today. That is the sense that we are suggesting by using would. So, if someone asks who will clean the room, and you say I would clean the room. Clean is the verb. I would clean the room. So, you are showing your willingness, your readiness, you are ready to do that work. So, your willingness is suggested by would, and when we use that modal auxiliary for seeking permission, what we are doing is we are asking the willingness of the other person, and we say, would you give me your phone? Would you mind sparing me a moment? Would you mind answering my question? Would you mind helping me? So, what we are doing is we are seeking permission, or we are asking about the volition, willingness of the person. So, that is again a modal auxiliary, and the last one that we use for seeking permissions is may. May is used to suggest probability. In its in the basic function of may is to suggest probability. So, we say it may rain today. It may rain today. Rain is the verb, and by using may with it, we are suggesting that there is a probability that it may rain. So, that we show by using may, we show probability that today it may rain. So, what we suggest is it may not rain also. It is a probability, not a certainty. But when we use it in question form, we usually suggest the sense of seeking permission, and we say, may I go now? So, what we are doing is we are asking permission. We want to go and we are asking permission. We go to next slide, and
I want to add something.
yes.
if we add please with this model auxiliaries, it is more polite.
Yes.
Can I borrow your pen, please?
Yes.
That is more polite.
Yes.
Could I borrow the pen? It's okay. But when you say, could I borrow your pen, please? That is more polite.
Yeah.
Same way with would and may.
Yeah.
So when you add please, it is more polite request.
Yeah. So you can always, yes, you very rightly suggested, and students should keep this in mind, that you want to, when you want to show more politeness, always add please at the either at the, as madam suggested, at the end of the sentence, or we may use it somewhere in between or in the beginning of the sentence also. Please, can I have your pen, or can I have your pen please? By adding that please, you are adding the force of your politeness to your permission. So the other person may be inclined to grant your permission. So please is a useful verb. Sometimes in our informal colloquial usage, we simply use please, 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 and by that single word we are seeking permission. You want to go somewhere, you want to do something, and you are seeking permission, so you say please, please. So that word has that force of politeness, and the other person, you may feel inclined to grant your permission. We go to next slide now, and we have here a dialogue. What I suggest is you write down this dialogue in your notebook. All the students, બધા જ વિદ્યાર્થીઓ આ ડાયલોગ જે સ્ક્રીન પર દેખાય છે એ પોતાની નોટબુકમાં લખી લે. આપણે બે વસ્તુ આમાં કરી શકીએ છીએ. તમને હું ડાયલોગ સંભળાવીશ પણ ખરો, અને ત્યાર પછી વી ડુ રોલ પ્લેઇંગ. આપણે રોલ પ્લેઇંગ કરીશું. એટલે તમે અને તમારા મિત્ર, તમારી સાથે જે છે તે બંને આ ડાયલોગમાં રોલ પ્લે કરશે. એક બનશે નેબર 1, બીજો બનશે નેબર 2, અને આ સંવાદ બોલશે જે આપણે હમણાં જ અમે તમને સંભળાવીશું. અને એ સંવાદ સાંભળ્યા પછી આપણે સંવાદ વિશે વધારે વાત પર કરીશું. પહેલાં આપણે એને સાંભળી લઈએ. ફર્સ્ટ વી લિસન ટુ ધી ડાયલોગ એન્ડ દેન વી shall discuss it.
Yes.
Could I borrow your lawnmower, please?
Yeah. Sure.
Thank you. I'll return that in a day.
We will repeat the audio for you so that you can listen it carefully.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Could I borrow your lawnmower, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I'll return that in a day.
So what we notice here is, could I borrow? This borrow is the verb. So by using that, I'll use this felt pen to mark it. Here we have this borrow. By using this borrow, we are seeking permission. It is highlighted now on your screen. Could I borrow your lawnmower, please? Borrow is the verb. You can replace that with any other verb that you are familiar with. Could I use your lawnmower, please? You can say. So borrow is the verb. It is in its base form because it is used with could. The person is requesting his neighbor. So there is a little bit degree of familiarity, but it also requires a little bit of formality also, because he is asking for a favor. He is asking for a favor. So some degree of formality is also required, and some degree of familiarity is already there. So he has used could I borrow. Otherwise, it could have been more formal, more polite. For instance, do you mind if I borrow your lawnmower? He could have said, the neighbor 1 could have said, could I borrow your lawnmower? And he could have also said, would you mind if I borrow your lawnmower? But here he has used could I. So instead of can I, he has used could I to sound more polite, and at the same time he needs to look familiar also. He needs to sound familiar also. Otherwise, naturally, the neighbor would take offense. So that's it. and now the response of the neighbor is also important for us. Here we have the response that says,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, sure. So by using that, yeah, sure, what we do is here, that is one response that we can use for granting permission. Yeah, sure. Nothing. Sure. Sure is the only word. In fact, yeah is for yes. Yeah means yes. And sure is the only word that the neighbor has used to grant permission. Yeah, sure. That's what he says. So, these expressions you should keep in mind. These expressions you should learn. You should have them ready with you so that whenever there is a need, you can use them freely. Pick up the expressions if you want to learn English rapidly, if you want to learn English easily. Pick up the expressions that you find around you in the movie that you see, or in the television, or in your class when your teacher speaks something. Use this, pick up these useful expressions, short, brief expressions, and they can always make your language wonderful. So that's it. And then the neighbor one again says, thank you. That is more important. Whenever you seek permission from someone else and your permission is granted, your wish is granted, you must thank the person who has allowed you. મિત્રો, ગુજરાતીમાં આપણે આ શબ્દો વાપરીએ છીએ, પણ એનું પ્રમાણ ગુજરાતીમાં ઓછું છે. પણ અંગ્રેજીમાં થેન્ક યુ અને સોરી આ બે શબ્દો એ ખૂબ જ વિપુલ પ્રમાણમાં વપરાય છે. અને તમારે if you want to learn English, if you want to sound English in a authentic way, તમારે આ બે શબ્દોને તમારા જીભે રમતા રાખવા જોઈએ કે જ્યારે પણ જરૂર પડે તો તમે સહેલાઈથી થેન્ક યુ એ તમારા જીભ પર આવી જવું જોઈએ. લોન મોવર માગ્યું છે અને નેબર જ્યારે એને પરમિશન આપે છે ત્યારે એ કહે છે થેન્ક યુ, આઈલ રિટર્ન દેટ ઇન એ ડે. એક દિવસમાં હું તમને પાછું આપીશ. આઈલ રિટર્ન દેટ ઇન એ ડે. હવે ફરીવાર આપણે સાંભળીશું અને વેન વી લિસન ઇટ અગેન, ફરીવાર જ્યારે આપણે સાંભળીએ, પ્લીઝ play attention to the tone, the way in which these sentences are pronounced.
આમાં જ્યારે નેબર વન એવું કહે છે આઈ વિલ રિટર્ન દેટ ઇન અ ડે, એ પણ બહુ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે.
Yes.
જ્યારે આપણે કોઈની પાસેથી કોઈ વસ્તુ બોરો કરીએ છીએ તો આપણે પાછી ક્યારે આપશું એ પણ બહુ મહત્વનું છે. જ્યારે પણ તમે કોઈની પાસે વસ્તુ માગો છો, થેન્ક યુ કહો છો, અને પછી તમારે એ પણ જણાવી દેવું જોઈએ કે તમે વસ્તુ ક્યારે આપશો. એ એક રિક્વેસ્ટ, એક પોલાઇટનેસનો એક પ્રકાર છે.
Yes. So we listen to the dialogue again and then we will go to another slide.
Excuse me,
Yes.
could I borrow your lawnmower, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I'll return that in a day.
So again, you pay attention to here. Could I borrow your lawnmower, please? How the person pronounces. કેવી રીતે બોલે છે, અવાજનો આરોહ અવરોહ કેવો છે, એના પર થોડું વધારે મિત્રો ધ્યાન આપશે. Let's listen to it again.
Excuse me,
Yes.
could I borrow your lawnmower, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. I'll return that in a day.
So I hope it was interesting. Now we shall again listen to another dialogue. Remember, the first dialogue was between two neighbors. They know each other. They are on equal ground. They are on equal footing. But in our day-to-day transaction, we are placed in various situations. Somewhere we are talking to our equals. Somewhere we are talking to our subordinates. And sometimes we have to talk to our superiors also, our boss or the person who is higher in the social ladder. And then we have to use another kind of language. મિત્રો, આપણે રોજબરોજના વ્યવહારમાં ઘણી બધી વખત આપણે અલગ અલગ પરિસ્થિતિમાં અલગ અલગ રૂપે લોકો સામે રજૂ થતા હોય છે. ક્યાંક આપણા બધા સહકાર્યકરો હોય છે, આપણી સમાન હોય છે, ત્યાં આપણે થોડા ઓછા ફોર્મલ ઔપચારિક રહીએ છીએ અને આપણે હળવાશથી વાત કરીએ છીએ. ક્યાંક આપણે હાથ નીચે કામ કરતા કર્મચારીઓ સાથે વાત કરવાની થાય છે, ત્યાં આપણો ટોન છે, એપ્રોચ છે એ અલગ હોય છે. ક્યારેક આપણે આપણા સુપિરિયર ઉપર, આપણા બોસ સાથે અથવા તો જે સામાજિક રીતે આપણાથી ઉપર છે એની સાથે જ્યારે વાત કરવાની થાય, આપણા વડીલ છે, આપણા શિક્ષક છે, અથવા તો ઓફિસમાં આપણા જે અધિકારી છે એની સાથે જ્યારે વાત કરવાની થાય તો આપણો ટોન, આપણી લેંગ્વેજ એ અલગ રહેશે. પહેલાંમાં બે પડોશીઓ વાત કરતા હતા, અહીંયા we shall see how a person named Sujata talks to her teacher. પોતાના શિક્ષક સાથે એ કઈ રીતે વાત કરે છે અને કઈ રીતે એ પરમિશન માગે છે. First of all, let's look at the slide and listen to the audio so that all of you can read with the audio, and then we shall practice it for your convenience.
Sir,
as we
could
see
you
in the
permit
slide.
us to use the auditorium, please? We have to practice the play we're doing for Founders Day.
All right, but please see that you don't make any noise.
Thank you, sir. I assure you we won't disturb anyone.
So, again, sir, we shall keep our eyes fixed on the slide so that we can read. Could you permit this? Permit is the word that we use. Could you permit us? Here. See, there it was. Could I borrow your lawnmower, please? Could I borrow? As I said, a little bit of formality and to some extent some familiarity was there. Now the student talks to her teacher. So she says, could you permit us to use the auditorium, please? See, permit, could you permit, that is a formal expression that shows more politeness. અને છેલ્લે એણે please ઉમેર્યું છે. Two things are important here for us. One is degree of politeness. How polite do you want to sound? That is very important. That we have that